Okay, and just so everybody knows, you're all on a mute, but if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, there's a little and question and answer section down at the bottom, a little chat box. So if you think of any questions as we're going through, definitely type your questions in there and we'll have some time at the end to go through them. So stress and stress management, that's what we're going to be talking about right now. Um, and we're going to go over some stress management techniques. So just a little bit of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to go over some stress facts. We're going to look at what stress is and what causes stress. We're also going to go through what happens to our bodies when we're experiencing a lot of stress. We're going to talk about some breathing techniques to help us to deal with stress, as well as look at different coping strategies that are available, both positive and negative coping strategies, and which ones are better for us to use. We're going to look at the positive sides of stress. So seeing stress as helpful, seeing it as being a motivator for us. And then we're going to also look at some of the best stress management practices. So quickly though, what are some stress facts? These are some of the common ones. Millions of people suffer from stress each year. 3 out of 4 people say that they experience stress at least twice a month, and stress can contribute to many serious health ailments. So stress is actually really quite common for most people, but there are simple steps that you can take right now to help you to reduce stress. And what exactly is stress? So stress is our body's response when we're feeling threatened. There are different reactions that come about when we experience stress. And stress is basically getting us ready to react to a situation where we're feeling threatened. Fight or flight. So this one's very common. This is when you're afraid that something may hurt you, and your body naturally responds with a burst of adrenaline. It's when hormones are getting you ready because it feels like you have to fight. It's an active defense mechanism and it's triggered by the release of hormones. And then the freeze response. This one is basically it happens when the fight or flight response doesn't work. So it's when you further prepare to protect yourself. The freeze response is when the brain decides the best reaction to a threat is to become immobile. So it feels like, okay, I'm just going to stay still and do nothing and hope that the problem goes away. Let's look at some different types of stress. So environmental stress. This is a response to things around you that can cause stress. So things like noise, crowding, pressure from work or from family, fatigue and overwork. So this is the kind of stress that builds up over time. It can be caused by working too much or too hard at your job, at school, or at home. It's when you just start to really feel burnt out. Internal stress. So this happens when we worry about things that we can't control or to put ourselves in situations we know will cause us a lot of stress. So just think for a minute, think of some common sources of stress and where do those stressors come from exactly? Where have you experienced stress in the past? So these are all very common. Changing jobs or starting your first job, illness or injury, from school and studying, relationships, finances, conflicts with your friends and family, people you care about. Certain living situations could be stressful. Even little things like dealing with traffic, worrying about being late. So we can see that stress can come from a lot of different aspects of our lives. So when do you think stress is really unhelpful? This could mean that you feel like you can't possibly deal with what's going on, so you're feeling hopeless, not in control. It can be a very overwhelming feeling. How can you tell when you are really stressed out? A really good indicator of when you're experiencing a great deal of stress actually comes from signs from your body. So what exactly happens to our bodies when we're feeling a lot of stress? It can cause our heart rate to increase, to pump more blood to your muscles, high blood pressure, rapid breathing. You could be feeling flushed. You may feel dizzy as well. You could experience tension headaches, muscle tension. You could have a lowered immune system, which could lead to cold and flu and things like that. So imagine if you're in a high state of stress for hours a day. That's a lot of distress on your body. So our body will often tell us when it feels like it's experiencing too much stress. It's a pretty good indicator if your body's telling you that you're stressed out, that it's important to have some stress management. So one really good, easy, cheap thing you can do for yourself is learn some breathing techniques. So when we're doing some deep breathing techniques, it can help our bodies a lot when we're experiencing stress. It can lower our blood pressure, promote feelings of calm and relaxation. It can help you to de-stress, allows your mind to slow down. It allows you to stay in the present and focus on what is important. So I'm going to share a video on breathing techniques to help with stress management.
It's Dr. Joe and Mr. Bear, and today I'm going to show you 2 simple breathing techniques to relieve stress. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. Before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure and click the subscribe button and make your subscription either public or let me know that you subscribe, because I always try and respond to my subscribers. So for the first breathing exercise or technique, this one is really great. It's nice because it helps relieve stress, it helps relieve anxiety. They actually use it in the military for special ops missions to help relax the military folks before they go into battle or things that will get them really stressed out and anxious. So this is just either called box breathing or square breathing. And it's kind of like it sounds. You have to use a little bit of imagery with this. So even if you have to look at something that's a box, sometimes that helps with your breathing technique. But it's really simple. And so all you're going to do is you're breathing in for 4 seconds. Imagine you're going up the square. Then you're going to hold your breath for 4 seconds. Then you're going to breathe out for 4 seconds. And then you're going to hold your breath again for 4 seconds. So you're really just making that square with that 4 seconds, breathing in, holding it, breathing out, and then holding it again. So this one, if you feel like you're going to pass out, don't keep holding your breath, but it's 4 seconds, so it should be pretty doable. So I'm going to count for you instead of actually holding my breath, just so you can do it. This is great because, again, it's nice and it helps you relax. You can do maybe 4 to 5 sets at a time, just to kind of help get you relaxed. So get in a nice, good, comfortable position so you can really get that breath breathing in. So let's start here. And again, even if you have to make the image with your finger, or if you use your eyes somewhere like a photo or a painting on the wall or something, make sure that you're using that imagery as well, because that helps you relax. So let's start here in the corner. So we're going to go up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then breathe in again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold your breath again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, mine's usually the hardest is after you breathe out and then you're trying to hold your breath. But again, once you do more, you'll start feeling that you have more strength in your lungs to do it and hold it pretty easily. So again, maybe 4 to 5 times. It just depends on how stressed out you are. A lot of times, even like if you're going to the doctors or something, you get a little anxious with that. If you do some of that in the waiting room, that'll help you kind of relax and calm down. So it's a really nice technique to use almost anywhere, but especially when you have a lot of stress or anxiety. So the next breathing technique is going to be when you're breathing out with pursed lips. And what pursed lips do is it makes your lungs work harder because the opening is smaller. So again, don't keep going. If you're feeling like you're passing out, maybe do less seconds for it, but really try and build up to it. It's going to help your lungs get stronger. It's going to help relieve your stress and your anxiety and just kind of help relax you in general. So for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to do some belly breathing, or the diaphragmatic breathing. And that's really just breathing in through your belly instead of through your chest. And sometimes it's hard to get that down, but if you put your hand on your belly, you can feel it go in and out, and that's a good way to get that belly breathing. So you're going to breathe in through your belly for 4 seconds, and then you're going to purse your lips and breathe out for 8 seconds. So again, I'm going to count for you so you can do it along with me if you want to, instead of actually doing the technique itself. But I'll kind of start with my pursed lips for you just so you can kind of remember to do that. So let's start again. And again with this, you can do it anywhere from, 3 to 5 reps just to kind of get you nice and relaxed. So if you want to put your hand on your belly, you can. And so you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Purse your lips and breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see that's a little bit longer than you would think. So I will do it once just so you can see. If you can't get all the way to that 8 seconds, that's okay. But the more you do, I think the easier it'll be. So breathe in. And you can make those noises while you do it too. So that was 8 seconds. And so if you can blow the whole time like me, that's great. But if you can't, that's okay too. Try and get to 6. Next time, try and get to 7. Next time, try and get to 8 seconds. But again, both of these breathing techniques, you don't have to do them back to back, because sometimes it might make you feel a little bit lightheaded if you haven't done this for a while. Again, don't go until you feel like you're going to pass out or anything. This is really supposed to kind of help relieve the stress, relieve that anxiety, and just help you relax in general. So there you have it. That was 2 simple breathing techniques to relieve stress. If you'd like to help support
Okay, so yeah, now that we're all relaxed, it's just if you're in the moment and you're feeling stressed out about something, sometimes if you take a few seconds just to do some deep breathing, that can help you to bring you back in the present. And it's a very effective way to deal when you're feeling overwhelmed by something. So that's just one of the stress management techniques. So now let's look at stress management, some positive and negative coping strategies. It's really important when we're feeling a lot of stress to incorporate positive coping strategies into our lives. With negative coping strategies, sometimes they can feel like instant gratification, and it can help you kind of forget the problem. But in the long run, if we're not looking after ourselves and doing self-care and things like that, the negative coping strategies can sometimes make things worse in the long run. So I'm going to show some different types of stress management coping strategies, and just take a minute and think to yourself if these are positive or negative coping strategies. So going outside and enjoying nature, playing with a pet, avoiding social contact with others, listening to music, talking about your feelings, arguing with someone else, thinking of the worst outcome, journaling, eating a lot of junk food, staying in bed, exercising. So I think most of these are pretty self-explanatory, but I'm just gonna go through them, and we'll talk about if they're good or not. So going outside and enjoying nature. This one is definitely a positive coping strategy, just to get out and clear your mind for a few minutes and be in nature and away from whatever it is that's bothering you. Playing with a pet. So that's another great distraction right there, being with your pet, just taking some time away from the trouble. Avoiding social contact with others. So when we're experiencing stress, it's actually better to be around people to talk about your feelings. If you're isolating yourself, then you can just get more into your own head. So that one is not a good coping strategy. Listening to music. This one's good too because of course it can give you people enjoy music. It's a good way to kind of release some feelings. It can help us to actually sort through our feelings as well. Talking about your feelings, of course, this is good. This is important to be able to talk about it with someone. Sometimes you can get a different perspective by sharing your feelings. Arguing with someone. If you're in a bad mood already, there's no point in starting an argument with someone because this could just lead to more bad feelings. Thinking of the worst outcome. When we are stressed, it's easy to think about the worst outcome and think things are worse than they actually are. But it's important to stay positive and to stay on the bright side. And journaling, that's great too. It's a good way to talk to yourself and get your feelings out. It can sometimes help you come to a solution. Eating a lot of junk food. Yeah, this is an instant gratification and it might make you feel better in the short term, but in the long term, it's not going to help. Staying in bed, so that's not going to help either because you could just, kind of wallow in the negative thoughts and the feelings. Exercising is a great way to release endorphins, great way to get your brain going and think of some positive things that could help you out. So managing our stress. So thinking about what exactly it is that's making us stressed out. Is there something that we can do to try to approach it and to reframe the situation? If not, can we look at ways on how to make ourselves feel better? So that's where positive coping strategies definitely comes into play. So thinking about the problem and identifying the problem. So where is the stress coming from? Is it your job, your school, your relationship, or something else that's causing you stress? Are you getting stressed out over little things because there's something deeper going on? So sometimes there could be something major that's causing us stress, but we're not quite picking up on it. And so we're getting upset and annoyed at all the littler things. But once you know where your stress is coming from, you have a better idea of how you can deal with the stress. And solving the problem. What can you do about the problem? What are the possible outcomes? Would it be worse or better than doing nothing about it? So sometimes solving a problem just means doing the best you can or asking others for help as well. And thinking about how we view stress, if you can change your mind about stress, you can actually change your body's response to it. So that's where we're going to talk about some of the advantages of stress. So seeing stress as a positive. Is that possible to see stress as a positive? Actually, it is. So these are just a few of the points showing stress as a positive. So it can make you more alert. It can make you more motivated. Also, it shows that you care about the topic you're worried about. Since you are showing so much concern and worry, it means you care about it. And also, it teaches you to enjoy times when you aren't stressed out. Another thing, often when we're stressed, it can help us to find a quick solution to the problem. Another thing about stress is it can be seen as a motivator. There are positive stressors which can be helpful. So this kind of stress can help us to be motivated and to focus on a task or to solve a problem. So just think for a second. Can you think of any positive stressors that you've experienced before in your life? Because there are a few. So just as examples, moving. So this can be a little bit stressful, but it's also quite exciting. Taking a vacation. Of course, going on vacation is fun and exciting. It can be a little bit stressful though too. Make sure everything's in place. Make sure you have everything ready. Having a baby. So this would definitely be considered a positive stressor. It's stressful, yes, but at the end you're going to have a new child. Holidays can be stressful, but also very exciting. Buying a new home, that can also be stressful and exciting. So there are times when we're more excited about something, but we can still feel the stress. So for example, getting married, starting a new job, generally new things come with a little bit of stress, although they are exciting. So I'm going to show another video which talks about stress as a positive and how to make stress your friend.
So we are going to do one more intervention. I want to tell you about one of the most underappreciated aspects of the stress response. And the idea is this: stress makes you social. To understand this side of stress, we need to talk about a hormone, oxytocin. And I know oxytocin has already gotten as much hype as a hormone can get. It even has its own cute nickname, the cuddle hormone, because it's released when you hug someone. But this is a very small part of what oxytocin is involved in. Oxytocin is a neurohormone. It fine-tunes your brain's social instincts. It primes you to do things that strengthen close relationships. Oxytocin makes you crave physical contact with your friends and family. It enhances your empathy. It even makes you more willing to help and support the people you care about. Some people have even suggested we should snort oxytocin to become more compassionate and caring. But here's what most people don't understand about oxytocin. It's a stress hormone. Your pituitary gland pumps this stuff out as part of the stress response. It's as much a part of your stress response as the adrenaline that makes your heart pound. And when oxytocin is released in the stress response, it is motivating you to seek support. Your biological stress response is nudging you to tell someone how you feel instead of bottling it up. Your stress response wants to make sure you notice when someone else in your life is struggling so that you can support each other. When life is difficult, your stress response wants you to be surrounded by people who care about you. Okay, so how is knowing this side of stress going to make you healthier? Well, oxytocin doesn't only act on your brain, it also acts on your body. And one of its main roles in your body is to protect your cardiovascular system from the effects of stress. It's a natural anti-inflammatory. It also helps your blood vessels stay relaxed during stress. But my favorite effect on the body is actually on the heart. Your heart has receptors for this hormone. And oxytocin helps heart cells regenerate and heal from any stress-induced damage. This stress hormone strengthens your heart. And the cool thing is that all of these physical benefits of oxytocin are enhanced by social contact and social support. So when you reach out to others under stress, either to seek support or to help someone else, you release more of this hormone, your stress response becomes healthier, and you actually recover faster from stress. I find this amazing that your stress response has a built-in mechanism for stress resilience. And that mechanism is human connection. I want to finish by telling you about one more study. And listen up, because this study could also save a life. This study tracked about 1,000 adults in the United States, and they ranged in age from 34 to 93. And they started the study by asking, how much stress have you experienced in the last year? They also asked, how much time have you spent helping out friends, neighbors, people in your community? And then they used public records for the next 5 years to find out who died. Okay, so the bad news first. For every major stressful life experience, like financial difficulties or family crisis, that increased the risk of dying by 30%. But, and I hope you are expecting a but by now, but that wasn't true for everyone. People who spent time caring for others showed absolutely no stress-related increase in dying, 0. Caring created resilience. And so we see once again that the harmful effects of stress on your health are not inevitable. How you think and how you act can transform your experience of stress. When you choose to view your stress response as helpful, you create the biology of courage. And when you choose to connect with others under stress, you can create resilience. Now, I wouldn't necessarily ask for more stressful experiences in my life, but This science has given me a whole new appreciation for stress. Stress gives us access to our hearts. The compassionate heart that finds joy and meaning in connecting with others. And yes, your pounding physical heart working so hard to give you strength and energy. And when you choose to view stress in this way, you're not just getting better at stress, you're actually making a pretty profound statement. You're saying that you can trust yourself to handle life's challenges. And you're remembering that you don't have to face them alone. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, that's just a good video I like to show because it shows the real positives of stress, and how stress can be viewed as a good thing. So some of the key points from this video: stress is a normal part of life, and how we view our stress can change how we feel about stress. How you think about stress matters. So like she said, if you can view it as a positive, it can actually be beneficial. New science says our stress response can become healthier if we view it as stressful. And stress can make us more social, from the hormone oxytocin, which is kind of neat. The cuddle hormone, she said. So yeah, I think that's a great video that displays some of the positives of stress. So now we're going to go over some of the best stress management techniques. So I've come up with 10 different stress management techniques to help with stress management. So the first one is relaxation techniques. So meditation, deep breathing, visualization activities, aromatherapy, and massage therapy. These are all great things to kind of decompress, and get in touch with yourself and your feelings. And just take a moment to do some self-care for yourself. We already kind of talked about exercising. So when you're exercising, you're releasing endorphins, and that can be really great for stress management. There's lots of different types of exercise as well: running, swimming, Zumba, weight training, cycling, walking, doing some stretches, and yoga. Nutrition is really important too. Every once in a while, it's okay to indulge. We all do. But it is really important too to keep to a healthy type of nutrition for the most part. So that involves eating a healthy, balanced diet, staying hydrated, drinking plenty of water, um, avoiding processed foods, reducing caffeine consumption, avoiding alcohol, and taking appropriate nutritional supplements when needed. Another good one is getting sufficient sleep and rest. So they say you should sleep between 7 to 9 hours a night. If we're not getting the proper sleep, then that can certainly wreak havoc on our moods. That can cause a lot of unwanted stress. So getting plenty of sleep is important. Taking short breaks as well throughout the day when needed. So say you need to take a minute just to do some deep breathing. That's completely understandable. And allowing your mind to rest periodically. So even just taking little mind breaks when needed. So setting goals. When you're feeling stressed out, setting goals can certainly be helpful. So breaking major life projects and tasks into smaller achievable goals. Setting milestones for goal achievement. Tracking our progress towards goal accomplishment. And rewarding yourself for when you've reached your goals as well is good. Keeping a journal, I mentioned this already. Keeping a journal, it's a really great way to kind of record your feelings and talk to yourself. And sometimes by doing this, you can sort out what it is that's stressing you out. So keeping a journal is a good way to keep stressors from building up. Journaling provides a way to make it easier to recognize circumstances and patterns that can lead to stress reactions. Writing down things that you're stressed out about can be a good step towards learning how to manage these stressors. So communicating with others, so having a proactive communication. So when you're feeling stressed, it is important to talk to people, to express your feelings. When you express your feelings to those who are involved in the stressful situation in your life, sometimes they can help you come up with solutions. So discuss the circumstances you're facing with your trusted friends and confidants. That's always good to kind of get something off your chest when it's really bothering you. As well, seeking counseling or therapy. If you seek professional assistance when needed, that's a sign of a true strength. So if your stress is becoming too much to bear, working with a qualified therapist, a counselor, or another qualified mental health professional can be one of the best ways to learn how to deal with stress. You can learn some really effective stress management techniques this way too. Also, dealing with the stressful circumstance itself. So if you're feeling stressed out about something, if you're engaging in avoidance behavior, that's not going to help you out in the long run when it comes to the situation. If you're ignoring the problem or pretending things are fine when they're not really fine, this can lead to a greater stress in the long run. It can just prolong the thing that's bothering you. Managing stress effectively requires dealing with the situation and working through what it is that's bothering you. And time management, this kind of relates to goal setting. So take the time to get organized. If you're feeling stressed out, organizing yourself and your situation is going to help to feel a little less overwhelming. So you can prioritize a to-do list. You can learn to delegate tasks to others. Leave time for yourself in your schedule. So leave some time for yourself to enjoy things. And if there's something that's stressing you out that you don't really need to do, learn how to say no to the request that's not essential for you. So those are just some of the best stress management techniques I've come up with. And stress is a natural part of being alive, being human. So the goal, I guess, is to take care of yourself and remember self-care techniques. So you can use these techniques in everyday life. If you're learning these techniques and using them, even when we're not feeling stressed out, then when the stressors do come up in life, you can have a better idea and know how to help when the stressful situation does arise. So one last thing for people to do on their own time. So just take a few minutes when you have a chance and write down your own kind of self-care prescription, how you and what you would use to manage stress. Try to think of at least 2 things and then write them down and try to practice them as often as you can. This way, when the stressor does arrive, you'll have some good tools in your toolkit to kind of get through the situation. And as well, if you need any more help with anything related to job, education, things like that, we'd love to hear from you. Our contact information is right here.